Hello and welcome back, my beautiful people. Happy Thursday. So for today's video, I thought I would just kind of do like a sit down type video and answer some of my most frequently asked questions. These are questions I've gotten on my YouTube videos, on my Instagram. I'm just gonna kind of go through these questions and answer them to the best of my ability. Obviously, I only know from personal experience. It might not be what other people think, but this is kind of just like from my experience. The first question is, how easy / hard is it to make friends? So in my experience, making friends here is super easy, honestly. Some of my best friends I've met in like the line for the cafeteria, in the laundry room, at the beach. I think it's because everyone here is so open to it. Everyone's kind of in the same boat. Most people don't know anybody else when they come here. I didn't know anybody else except my roommate. We were never friends though, so like we didn't become friends until we were roommates, but she was the only person that I knew. But I didn't really have any friends here when I first came here, so I do get it. It's scary coming to a new place where you don't know anybody, but like I said, everyone is thinking the same thing as you. You can literally just go up to people, start a conversation, compliment someone, honestly anything, and you have like, bam, a new friend. Everyone is just so open to talking to you and so open to meeting new people and new friends, and there's people from all around the states, all around the world, so it's kind of super cool to like just meet a bunch of people from a bunch of different places. And then the next question that I've gotten is, how often do you go home? People who've been subscribed to my channel for a while know that I'm from Washington State, which isn't that far of a flight compared to other places like the East Coast, obviously, but it's still a 6-hour flight. Flights to and from Hawaii are still pretty expensive, so I do only go home twice a year. I go home for Christmas and for the summer. I wasn't able to go home for Thanksgiving or spring break, and I will admit, not going home for Thanksgiving was a little rough. It was like the first Thanksgiving without being around my family, which was pretty hard. But personally, it's up to you. You can go home as many times as you want. Just for me and my family, it just worked best for me to only go home for Christmas and for summer, because those are more extended periods of time, and it just made sense for me to go home during those times only. And then the next question that I've asked a lot is, what is my major? So I was a marine biology major, and now I am a psychology major. And then the next question that I get asked a lot is, what made me decide to pick UH? So like I just said, I was originally a marine biology major, so that was one of the top reasons. UH is a pretty good school for marine biology. They have the good programs. It's surrounded by ocean, obviously, so it just made a lot of sense. And secondly, I have the WUI, which is the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program, so it makes my tuition more expensive than in-state resident, but less expensive than an out-of-state. It's about like 150% of in-state tuition, so it's kind of like in between. That was another reason. I was looking at schools in California, but the out-of-state tuition for those schools would have been around $50,000, which is a lot of money, so it honestly was just cheaper for me to come to Hawaii for school, so that was another factor, definitely cost. And also, this is probably going to be the only time in my life where I get to live in Hawaii. It's a very unique opportunity, a very unique experience, and I just thought that it was probably going to be the only time in my life where I would have this opportunity. So, and also the culture here is so different from the mainland, and I wanted to go somewhere where I could learn about a new culture, try new foods, just learn about pretty much, just like learn as much as I can. Learn about it, respect the culture, obviously respect the land. Thought it was a very unique opportunity to be able to go somewhere where the culture was completely different from what I grew up in. So that was another really big reason for me. And then another question is my plans after college. So I'm hoping to stay in Hawaii. That might not be realistic. I'm not sure what is gonna happen after college. Honestly, that's kind of far away. That's three and a half years away from now, so I don't really have any solid plans after college. Hoping to stay in Hawaii, but it all kind of depends on if I can find a job here and things like that. But I also want to travel too, so I'm not sure if I'll end up staying in Hawaii or living in Hawaii and traveling. Haven't really decided yet. That's a question for future me. The next question is, how much do I typically spend in a week? It's known that Hawaii is way more expensive than the mainland. Groceries, gas, food, pretty much everything's more expensive than the mainland. It is pretty hard to save money here. However, I don't have to pay rent, obviously, because I live in the dorms. And I have a meal plan, so I typically don't have to pay for my food. However, I don't really enjoy the dining hall food, so I do go out to eat a lot, and I do spend a lot of money on groceries. So I typically end up spending about $100 to $150 a week. That's not how much everyone spends, that's just how much I spend personally. Obviously, I can spend less or spend more. That's just kind of typically around how much I find myself spending. I also go to a lot of coffee shops because that's where I like to do my studying. So then there's money on coffee and food, so it does add up. However, with the staying in the dorms and the meal plan, it does make it easier to not spend as much money. So you can definitely get away with not spending that much, or spending more if you want. It's kind of all just personal preference and your spending habits, I guess. The next question is the cost of tuition, and I'm not entirely sure about this. I believe that in-state is about, I want to say like $10,000 to $15,000 a year. Out of state, I think gets as much to $50,000, and this would like be including tuition plus room and board and like food and stuff like that. So I think it's about that much. And then with WUI, I think it's 150%. So it's probably around like $35,000, I'm guessing. Don't quote me on that though, because I'm not really sure. I think that's around how much. The next question I got is about surrounding apartments for students. So the one apartment complex I do know of is the Hawai'i Apartments. I know a lot of kids that stay there. It's pretty expensive, but it's also a very nice complex. You can still have roommates. So that is a good option, and it's very close to campus. And then the last question I got is about the typical college experience. So it's a very big thing, and I was told this all the time before I came here. Oh, like, you're not gonna get the college experience, you're gonna miss out, like all this stuff. And personally, I don't really think that's how it is. There's not a lot of Greek life here though. There's no Greek row, there's no sorority houses, fraternity houses. There are 2 sororities and 3 fraternities, I believe, but they don't have their own houses. And again, it's not a very big part of the campus life. However, there's still parties, house parties, beach parties, so like it's not like there's no parties. It's still college, guys. You can still have fun. And obviously, you live close to the beach, so it's just a very unique experience from other colleges. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly like that, but personally, I have enjoyed it a lot better than I would the typical college experience. So, I mean, if you want to join a sorority or a fraternity, this might not be the place for you. However, there are sororities and fraternities if you do want to join one. So yeah, that's all the questions I got. If you have any questions about classes or international students or sports or anything like that, I'm not the person to ask. So call the school, email the school if you have any questions about that. If you have any more questions, you can always DM me on Instagram. I'll try my best to answer. I do get a lot of DMs though, but I will try my best, so you can always DM me on Instagram. I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful to you. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.